everything from.
We think we have.
We think we have. It's true. Every new week we realize that we have not.
That's right.
But we've had everything from the investigator of foreign companies
remember that?
to complete. What was the one a few weeks ago that Jasmine? She basically did. I didn't even know it was a thing that you could tattoo on.
Oh, tattoo! Yeah, the eyebrows. Yeah, stuff. I know. That was pretty amazing too.
You would everything in between those two we've had, So now we have more. That we always learn more. So it's fantastic.
Remember that bell curve? We've actually expanded that.
Yeah, we're in the 99% section of the bell curve. At least I think we'll find out one of these days.
Keeps pushing.
There'll be something even we haven't thought of.
Well, that's for sure.
I talk about shout out to some fans of the show. Provi Garcia Serrara from Spain.
Provi, hola, buenos dias.
Liking the show. So I love when we go international. It happens every once in a while, but it's always fun to go international. And so
they must really want to see you though. That must be it.
Oh, I guess so. Well, what did you say?
I was hoping to get a compliment back. It just doesn't work. No matter what I do, it just doesn't come back. That's amazing.
I didn't realize you were fishing for a compliment.
Of course.
So it's going to be a great show. Be sure to
like, share, and subscribe.
Excellent.
Not sure exactly what that does, but
on Facebook you can follow. On YouTube you can there is a subscribe button. You can subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. On Facebook you can follow the group. You can follow the show. You can do whatever you would like. Send us any questions, comments. Tell us how much you love the guests that we have on today.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. It really is going to be exciting. I mean, I was reading a little bit from your questions, what it is they do, because I forgot to look that up as usual. And I said, wow, I didn't even know.
Oh, when you check out the website, their website. It's awesome. It's pretty neat.
Well, you can just looking at them, you can tell they're creative. So you would imagine their website being creative.
Absolutely.
You look at somebody like me and they'd say, "Ugh, that website must be really, really lovely." But you look at them, you say, "Whoa."
Hence why you didn't make the website. So
that is true. Hence.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're very excited to have you joining us this morning on Today y Mañana. The sun's coming out. It was a little cloudy this morning,
but I think
it's going to be a beautiful summer day.
It feels almost like fall. I mean, that's how
because it was a cool
unhumid it's been to a certain respect.
That's true. The last few days.
Yeah. Really, and we've had so little rain that the leaves of so many trees are falling already. That really feels like fall. I mean, I'm sure we're going to be surprised somewhere along the line.
Don't say that in front of Michael. He gets very upset when you tell him that summer is ending.
No, yeah.
So we can't mention that.
The minute summer begins, it begins to end, right? But
it's true.
No, I think. Listen, we've seen Septembers where it's like just brutal.
Oh, we're going to have some nice
never
warm.
You can't tell here in Virginia.
Sure. Absolutely. Already got some great fans tuning in this morning. Wow, this is fast. I love it. Bill McChesney watching the show this morning. Johnny Ornelas, Amigo de Pobrana says, buenos dias, amigos. Buenos dias, Johnny. Muchísimas gracias, the amazing owner of El Mariachi on Zion's Crossroads. Thanks for joining us this morning. Great man, great friend of the Latino entrepreneur community. He gave us the little... Nit is telling me, let me just make sure of this before I read Nicholas's comment. Just want to make sure I've got this right. Yeah, okay, he is. He's given us the little Cuban flag, Johnny O'Neill. So I want to make sure it wasn't the Puerto Rican flag.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd do that. I don't think he would do that to us. But I was like, okay, all right, the Cuban flag. Muchísimas gracias. Sandra McDaniel watching the show this morning. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be a great show that we have lined up. We're excited for. We're going to be joined shortly by Dana Boston. She is the owner of the Aesthetic Company here in Charlottesville, as well as later in the show by Debbie Romo. She is the founder of Refem, two amazing entrepreneurs that we have here in our local community. We're going to learn all about what they do, all the amazing work that they put in, and just what it's like to be an entrepreneur in their field. So we're excited for that. It's going to be fantastic. Of course, a couple shout outs this morning. Big thank you, of course, to Merger Financial Services, our presenter, as well as our amazing partners, Miguel and Chit from Credit Series Insurance. Miguel and Carolina.
Oh, they're coming in next week.
Credit Series are going to be joining us next week. They're going to be coming on.
To brush up on my Spanish.
Brush up on that, and also, your questions to, anything insurance related, they are really good at. They know the answers. So we're going to be joined by them next week. A couple of thank yous. Of course, Matias Yon was on with us last week, right. Our amazing partner. Castle Hill Cider, where we'll be hosting
next week,
Today Mañana event next Thursday at 5:30. You can find that on Facebook. You can sign up. I think if you go to either to Today Mañana group or the Today Mañana page, there's an event for the event. There's an event page.
There's an event for an event.
There's an event for an
event.
That's
a good one. That's something I would say.
There's an event page for the event next week at 5:30 at Castle Hill. Be sure to sign up. There's no cost to attend. And of course, we're always grateful to Ford Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Thank you, Chelsea Rosher, for joining us this morning and watching the show. Appreciate it very much. Holly Foster, thank you for joining the show this morning. So they are just tuning in, which we love, which we absolutely love here on the show. So how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's
been a couple weeks.
Yeah, is it 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Wow, it's just amazing. I mean, it's just my travel has increased dramatically over the last 6 months. So I never know if I'm here, or there, or somewhere. But I'm always delighted to be here with you and a wonderful guest, because it is exciting. It really is.
And we always, like I said, we always learn.
It's so invigorating. You listen to people that have their own businesses and how they start and what they do, and
they do
it makes you feel good.
Things. It's like it's always impressive. I've never, let's put it this way, I'm never underwhelmed.
That's true.
That's for sure.
True.
That's for sure. So speaking of that, I'm excited to go to our first guest.
Absolutely. Let's
jump right in here. Let's go ahead and do it. We're excited to welcome to the show this morning Dana Boston. She is the owner of The Aesthetic Company. Dana, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, guys.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure.
No, it's fun to have you on. So for those who haven't met you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you first became interested in kind of the field of being an esthetician.
Sure. Yeah. So it's been a little journey. 2008, I've been in the industry. Straight out of school, just jumped right in. Fortunate enough to have landed a job here in the beautiful Charlottesville. So always have practiced aesthetics locally. But then in 2020, like many of us, were handed some interesting situations. So I decided to take a real leap, and with the support of my husband and existing clientele, I went on my own journey and opened the Aesthetic Co. It kind of an accidental entrepreneurship journey, but I've been really fortunate, and we're going on our third year.
Wow, terrific! So did you have any experience on the field that you chose, or how did you come about and say, wow, that's something I'd like to do?
Yeah, so I started in 2008 with another medical spa. Okay. I worked there for 10 and a half years. I worked at a couple of other establishments locally after that, and just kind of honestly felt like I wanted to create a better culture. The beauty industry has a very hustle mentality, and it can be extremely tiring. Not only are you on your feet, but working with the public and working with people, especially in that intimate scenario, it's emotionally taxing, and it really can drain you. And so I have 3 young children, and I was pregnant with my third at the time of starting the Aesthetic Co. And I said, I just don't have the bandwidth to go into an environment that I can't have a little bit more control of. And then I knew that I couldn't be alone in facing this kind of lack of a work-life balance. So I wanted to create a culture that supported that, but also passionately fueled my love of the industry.
Now, is it the demand of the kind of clientele, what they want, that is challenging, or is it just the whole, what you do?
So, I definitely would say everything that we do can be challenging, especially in our specialty. We're more of a corrective-focused clinic. So we treat a lot of acne, we treat a lot of hormonal condition, skin issues.
Okay.
A lot of times, predominantly female clientele, they're coming after being so disappointed with, doctor after doctor or visit after visit and just not getting to the bottom of, their issue. So that emotional demand, sometimes we joke in the beauty industry that we're part-time therapists because, you get on the table and you spill everything, which we love. We feel like we have true relationships with our clients. And that's something that we don't take lightly. But truthfully, you kind of have a secondhand trauma of sorts at times when a client comes in and they're just spilling it all.
Yeah, of course.
And we're grateful for those relationships, but it is taxing. So, just to respect that of every provider and to fuel the passion and kind of fulfilling that why of starting into the beauty industry, it was important to me to kind of have a boundary a little bit and, just respect, like I have to go home with a somewhat full of a cup at night. So.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just so important. I think it's one of the beauties of entrepreneurship that you're kind of able to say, here's the work-life balance that I want to create. And there's probably others that I can then bring in who would appreciate that kind of balance that maybe you don't find at another employer, but you can create that balance that works for you by having your own business in a way.
Right.
Absolutely. So for those who might be saying, okay, what I might have heard of some of the things you do, but not known that they were esthetician services, or I might have heard the word esthetician, but don't know what that means. What are some of the things that what are some of the services that you frequently provide to clients as an esthetician?
Sure. So I think the more common ones, everyone knows about brow and lash services. They're super popular. And then facials, everyone loves to go for a nice luxurious facial. I have to admit, that's not completely our realm of specialty. We're kind of known more for those corrective things. So we're acne specialists, so we really help bridge the gap of if you've been frustrated with dermatology, not looking at the complete holistic approach to skincare. So, dermatologists are wonderful resources to have, but oftentimes you need help with how to maintain it at home and in between the times of your prescriptions and, things like that. There are lifestyle considerations when you're facing skincare. We're not nutritionists or dietitians, obviously. However, we have found some great resources that we've taken advantage of for additional certifications and such that have given us the ability to really help our clients in a more holistic approach. And truthfully, there's quite a population that don't want to turn to medication. So we have been very successful in being able to clear acne for those without the use of medications. So that, I think, is something that we stand out to do. And again, just hormonal conditions that affect the skin. Predominantly in women, not to leave you guys out. We do treat a lot of gentlemen, and we love our guys. So something that we recently brought on is laser treatments. That was a big background for myself at the Medi Spa I worked at for over 10 years. Was a predominantly laser-focused center. So
what are some of the things you treat with laser?
Yeah, so probably let's love on the guys a little bit. Something that they have a hard time with is their beard or areas that they shave frequently, razor burn, ingrown hairs, that type of thing. Our laser can actively treat and effectively treat those problems.
Wow.
So it kills the hair follicle and eliminates the need to shave in that area. And sometimes there's scarring involved, and we can help with the laser to do that. So
how interesting. Yes, I was going to ask, because I would imagine that probably predominantly I currently have acne. You can get some help. What are there things you can do for people? Because I know a lot of people, like, they've had acne, or you had acne, maybe you're no longer a teenager, so you don't have any, but you have the lingering effects, scarring from having had it in a bad way. Are there treatments you can do for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, that laser I mentioned is really great for we call it our cleanup. We've cleared you, the acne is under control. We often like to express that acne is never cured, it's just controlled. Because there is a lot under the surface that we can't account for all the time. So if we can help you maintain it. And then once you are clear, like you said, there's a lot of things that we can do to help with the pigmentation or scarring that's left behind. Laser being one, we have other resources like microneedling. That's a big buzzword in the aesthetic community. So basically stimulating the body's natural response to heal by creating a very controlled injury to the skin.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
I would never have thought you could
that's pretty amazing.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so when somebody has, whether it be acne or something, and they approach you, right? So the first thing they do, I guess they sit in some kind of chair, reclining chair. So do you then have to kind of take a look and see what you think it is and what is the steps to be able to help that? And so kind of walk us a little bit through that process, how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're coming in with active acne, we start with what's called our acne boot camp. Basically, we are signing up to be your coach for the next 90 days. This is a really common resource for our teenagers or younger clients that their parents are just like, I've told them they need to do these things, but they're not listening. It's got to be coming from somebody else.
Right.
I love these clients. So first, I just kind of get to know them. The first question I ask, especially to those teenagers, are, do you want to be clear or do your parents want you to be clear? Because you have to have the client's buy-in.
Yeah, absolutely.
80% of this clearance work is going to be done in their bathroom vanity. 20% is on me.
Okay.
Of professional treatments and help there. So yeah, just kind of getting to know them. What's their lifestyle like? Are they an athlete? A lot of the things that athletes take, like proteins, supplements, things like that, can really be inflammatory to the skin's in general.
Gotcha.
And so kind of trying to rule out some of those factors and just the simple, like, what's their lifestyle like? What's their schedule? Showers? What do they have available too? There's so many things that kind of need to be peeled back a little bit on that very initial visit. So we try our best to understand what's going on from that very first visit there. And there's grades of acne. There's also something called acne imposters. So they are ones that show up as acne but may not be clinically diagnosed as acne. So there's a lot of kind of investigative work due to just kind of what you're seeing, feeling, but we never treat on the first visit. We have to have a lot of conversation, and hopefully we get you set up with what your home care would look like from that point on.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, because you walk in and it's like you have to figure out what's going on. And interesting, fake acne. It's like, okay, that's not. I don't know what fake acne is, what it could be, but you say, okay, we have to treat that differently, right? Because I suspect that most people come in. I mean, if you got acne, like you said, they'll go to a dermatologist. They probably give them 600,000 different creams that they put on and things like that. And if it's not working, it's probably good to be able to say, all right, there's a source to this acne. What is it, and how do we, get in there and fight that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what out of curiosity, because I know you mentioned some people, they obviously don't want to go the prescription route. What's different about the way, like, how does what you would do to treat acne and help control it kind of differ from what someone might be used to at a dermatologist?
Sure. So, I mean, much like kind of your nurse-doctor relationship, a lot of dermatology visits are very short and brief with the actual physician. So there's a lot of frustration from that, especially if this is something that you've waited months to even get into the door to see. And then they're handed, to your point, here, take this cream, apply this once, in a while, and we'll see you in 6 months and hope for the best. That can be a very frustrating part, especially if it's something that is affecting their self-confidence, how they're showing up in their, work or school life. So we really try in that first visit to really just break all of that down and assure them we're going to be in constant contact for the next 90 days. The biggest choice for parents oftentimes, again, we predominantly see teens faced with the acne issue. They don't want the side effects that the common acne drugs bring along. So one very common one is Accutane. And I understand why people turn to that, because they're just, done with it. They're done with having to suffer through the acne process. So, but that comes with a lot of side effects and some pretty significant and serious ones. So
so it's so key to be able to work with you and say, okay, I don't want to go down that road of experience, or maybe they have and said, I can't do that anymore. Because if you were affected by those side effects, I can't take that part anymore.
Right.
It's interesting. There are people.
No, go ahead.
It's interesting because most of the time you think about acne, you think about teenagers, right? I mean, I guess the hormones have a lot to do with that. But every once in a while, you still see people in their 40s or 50s, and you look at them. So, and you realize that they have some form of something on their skin, and I always just assume it's some form of acne. So is that possible? Is that also hormone, or is that something else?
That's a great question. Honestly, there's no direct answer to that.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
so many variables when it comes to skin. Many people forget that skin is our largest organ. So there are so many factors with your lifestyle, your dietary, choices that you make, and then your routine at home can matter a lot. And many times we get into a routine or a rhythm of using certain products in our 20s, and they're like, "This works for me. I'm going to keep using it." But your skin changes, especially as women. We do go through a lot of hormonal changes. If you choose to have children during pregnancy and such, can really affect the health of the skin and vitality of the skin's functions. So it's important every so often to check in with a skin specialist to make sure you're using the appropriate ingredients and such with your skin. But yes, it can absolutely be tied to hormones. Again, with prescriptions and different things can be hormone disruptors. They are called in our industry. So they can really throw things out of whack. So we do our best to help those clients do the same thing. And it's a lot of the same steps that we take with our younger clientele. But obviously there's other key components, such as pregnancy, breastfeeding, things of that nature that need to be considered, or any kind of hormone replacement therapy, kind of a whole nother branch that we don't have time to discuss today. But those who are facing any kind of autoimmune disorders, that can bring a real another kind of change into the skin, and there's a lot of prescriptions and such that they'll be on, or things that we have to avoid during treating their skin, of whether it's acne or anything else.
So I have one other question.
Yeah, go for it.
Since I'm an old guy. So what I always notice also, as you get older, sometimes you get like brown spots on your skin, which everybody says, oh, those are age spots. So is that something that can also be cured or changed or
Treated.
eliminated? Treated?
Yeah, absolutely. So my laser does a great job with that. So shameless plug there.
No, that's
but this is
I don't know what it is.
it's something that you definitely want to be seeing your dermatologist about. Please go get skin checks every 3 years minimally. If you have a family history of skin cancer of any kind, go annually. It's worth the $50 copay to be ahead of that. Melanoma and other skin cancers can pop up so fast.
Yeah.
And most of us did not grow up in a time that sunscreen was as widely available or even desired, So we have done a lot of damage. So typically by the time you're seeing the damage in terms of a brown spot or some kind of aging spot, this is damage that you did 20 years ago, coming up to the surface. It takes quite a while for things to come to the surface. You will notice if you tend to be the driver of your household, your left side will age faster than your right because you are facing the car window.
The one that explains this.
So it's not uncommon. I know my first one popped up on my right side because I am a passenger princess in my house, but they're very, very common. The back of your hands age very fast as well. So sunscreen is your best friend. Just use one that you like.
Is the key.
Is the key. I have my preferences, but I'll take sunscreen wear over.
And is it at all times, like, what are things, out of curiosity, that you can do? Because obviously when people, if you have an issue and that you're going to come see you at that's the esthetician company, but like what are things people can do both before and after to really just take care of their skin so that they don't have issues 20 years down the road? Obviously sunscreen's a big part of that.
Sunscreen for sure is like my number one recommendation. But also just getting in a good habit of cleansing your skin daily, twice a day. So there's kind of a jury out there, so to speak, of do you need to wash your face twice a day? The answer is absolutely yes. Not to gross you out, but we have little mites on our skin. When we wake up in the morning,
they're there.
They're there. They've done their duty. They've lived on your pillowcase. You've rubbed your face in them all night. Please wash your face. So wash your face, sunscreen. Please come see Aesthetic Company so that we can help you. Get on a easy regimen to follow, and that's effective for your skin, and meeting your concerns, because we all look at our older relatives and we're like, oh, I don't want to age like that, or I don't want that to happen. We can work that out.
Absolutely. Oh man, the fans coming in. Christopher Gooch, thanks for watching this morning. Melissa Iniguez, I believe it is. Iniguez. Katie Rafalski, Alicia Green, Brandon Stott, thanks for joining us. Stephanie Marie, Janessa Hansford, Jennifer Bowerly, Elaine Martin, Sue Ann Brown, Sydney Chakalos, thanks for joining us and watching this morning.
Some of those are great clients.
So there you go. And they I'm sure they're loving you, and that's probably why they're joining in. They're like, this is the best.
Thanks,
this is the best, showing some support. On the entrepreneurship side, what's it been like kind of taking that plunge and saying, all right, I'm going to go from doing this for another company, all this years of experience, to I'm going to be doing things behind the scenes, getting this to work, managing. How has it been to take that plunge?
Wow. It's been a journey. So I started off, I was scared to death to start, first and foremost. Like I said, it was during the pandemic. I was pregnant, or I just had my third son by the time we opened. I looked to my husband and I was like, so, got this crazy idea. So he's crazier than I am because he allowed me to do this. But we started in a 75 square foot space in the Coteray Suites right down on East Market, so not too far from the studio here. I had to close the door behind my client so that I could come around the table. That's how tiny it was. But I'm so grateful for that space. And it allowed us to launch. I was there for 6 months. We moved into a bigger studio within that same building, about 150 square feet.
Wow.
Really risky. But it went awesome. I hired my first employee in that space. We kind of swapped our schedules, just kind of went back and forth. Another esthetician and mom, so she was looking for that same work-life balance. Our, a whole story is kind of aligned in that space. And then about a year later, I was fortunate enough to be in a brick and mortar on Pantops now, so still not too far.
Okay. Lots of growth.
Yeah, I have 3 estheticians now, a doctor on staff providing some services. Actually, Jasmine Garcia, who you had last week, is in our space too.
Wonderful.
She's doing her own thing, but
she's giving you a shout out. She's giving you some claps and props, saying hi. Love the aesthetic company and Dana.
She's awesome. I mean, her work is outstanding. Her and I met in the transition of her kind of starting her own thing, and to see her growth is so motivating. So just surrounding myself with other entrepreneurs, whether they're in my industry or not, is always motivating to me. And learning leadership has been definitely a journey as well. I think that the Baby Aesthetic Co. that we started a little over 2 years ago is definitely growing. We just did a rebrand of our logo. We're getting ready to do more changes. We added the laser this year, and a new website is coming. So I am
fantastic.
Really excited about that. So I feel like we have a little bit of a more grown-up version now, which I'm very proud of.
Which is just that beautiful growth that you see as part of a small business. You're taking those next steps, and
that is
just amazing. You got some props. Randa Kane says, good job. Velma Price liked in the show this morning. So you definitely had the props. Wow, between you and Jasmine being in the same spot, that's probably like the one-stop shop for you could go in there and come out just looking fantastic.
Absolutely.
By the time you just do back-to-back appointments, you'll be glowing with
That's our hope. We love it.
Absolutely. So, it has been fantastic, Dana. Before we let you go, where can people find out more, get in touch, and reach out for an appointment?
Sure, absolutely. So, as I mentioned, our big space is on Pantops in Charlottesville. We also have a small space in Crozet. We have joined a athletic and wellness center down in Crozet, Virginia, with Reset Wellness and Athletic Company. So they have a infrared saunas, kind of again that collaboration that you were mentioning with Jasmine.
Fantastic.
It's kind of a different way we've done it down there. So we're both in Charlottesville and Crozet. We try to stay active on our socials. So Instagram is the.aesthetic.co, or on Facebook at The Aesthetic Co.
Aesthetic Co.
So
super easy, just The Aesthetic Co. Right there. And that's awesome. Yeah, it's been no matter what side of town, just Pantops and Crozet are the opposite. There's always one within easy driving distance.
Absolutely. Neither one is really far away at all. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
exactly.
If you're in Crozet, you don't have to drive all the way to Pantops. You can just go right there in Crozet.
That's it.
Absolutely. Well, Dana, this has been so fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on today.
It's been very informative.
Thank you.
Educational. I love it.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Much.
Thank you very much.
As we do our transition here, and all the fans, you can tell how many people just really, really love the work.
Well, that's great stuff.
Great work
again, I had no idea that this even existed. But like I mentioned, sometimes you see people have this, horrendous acne, right?
Yeah.
And you feel bad for them because you know that who knows what they do to themselves to try to help. and to be able to say, there is help for you out there in a way that
one help afterwards too. Just I had no idea that there was anything you could do for acne scars. I always thought
me neither.
I've got this hole that popped up, and it is
exactly.
what it is, and I'm stuck with it. But there's actually things you can do for the brown spots.
Yeah.
This way, that left side can become your good side again.
That's right. Well, it's not that bad, is it?
No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
Just right now it's just the right side or nothing. So
Now I know. Next time I take a picture, just go like this.
But now you can go to the aesthetic toe and get that fixed.
You get that fixed.
Absolutely. So that always love the great entrepreneurs that come on. And from one amazing entrepreneur to another
one.
We're excited to welcome to the show this morning Debbie Romo. She is the founder of Refem right here in Charlottesville. Debbie, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, we're really excited to have you on. So for those who haven't met you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you decided to start Refem.
Of course. Well, my name is Gabriela Romo. I'm originally from Mexico. I've been in Charlottesville for the last year or so.
Okay.
I'm the founder of Refem, a very non-traditional tailoring business that carries sustainability at its core, providing services like clothing repair, mending, and clothing restyle services.
How interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What are some of what are some examples of things people can come in and services you can get for them? They come in with a shirt or a dress. What are some of the different things you do?
Well, it's very diverse because it could range from the very favorite piece of yours of denim that you love, but you just got a stain in a hole or something. So we will patch it up, we will mend it invisively or visively. It ranges from that to even full bridal gowns and bridesmaid dresses to the basic and classic tailoring services. So I feel it's a very wide variety of services that I can offer, but it's pretty much everything that will help me and you keep your clothes longer in your closet and just longer in circulation. And if that means to just restyling that one piece that you love that it served you very well for a decade or two, but maybe it does not suit your personality anymore, and you just want to spice it up a little bit and just restyle it and think of it in a different way, I can help you with that as well. So it's a very wide range of services, but I feel overall they're all aiming for the same thing, keeping your clothes in circulation and help you just get the most that you can out of the clothes that you already have.
So for example, one of the things, I've got suits that are from, way back then, 50s and 60s. No, not just kidding. 60s and 70s.
Well, from your,
right?
They're coming back in
even
style,
from
by
my
the way.
father, right? Where was that?
They're coming back in style, by the way.
Well, then there's nothing to do. So the lapels are just way wide and they,
Pointy.
Pointy exactly. So is that something that you can adjust and make them, more to today's style?
Yeah, it's something that we can work together, towards, so we can take it towards a place that is more contemporary, that is fitting more your current self, and probably if you like to be on top of the trend, something that can be in pair with what you're currently seeing out in the streets. So there's a lot of that too. There's a lot of the brides who just had their wedding and just want to do something different with their wedding dress. Right now I'm reworking a beautiful gown to make it into a bodysuit. So my lovely bride can continue to wear it even afterwards instead of just keeping it in your closet like we all do. Because from the average American who has 120 clothes in her closets, there's at least 1/4 of it that is just sitting in her closets, just there in a pile collecting dust. So majorly it's because it doesn't fit and it needs to be repaired. So that was for me my wake-up call, starting with my own mending pile, and also just growing up in a country like Mexico, where if you've been, you will know that maybe the female average height is 5'2". And to give some context to the audience, I'm 5'10", so
you'll see that when you see the promo photo.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I was just, growing up a little too tall and too skinny, so I had to just make my own alterations since I can remember. So knowing that I'm not, alone when I say that you cannot always get that perfect fit off the rack on the clothes that you want and that you love and that you just want to wear because you see it out there, right? So yeah, that was the main thing that definitely inspired and sparked the whole thing. But that's been
but it's such an important service. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I know women will talk about these problems, but I see it as a man as well. Like, you go into a clothing store, the odds of any of those things fitting you well,
perfectly,
are slim to none.
Very, very
like
slim.
It's gonna be between one size to the other. It's gonna be
especially with suits, right? Because it's like, okay, so you get a suit, and it's like, okay, the pants are perfect, but this is too wide here, or it's too wide there, or it's not right. And then you get the perfect top. It's like, well, these pants are like, they're dancing on me. So, it's just one of those things where it's just like, especially when you buy a suit, it's like, it's never perfect, right?
Or if you change over time, sometimes you get a suit, it fit you, right? And you get married, you put on a couple pounds, speaking from experience, and you're like, okay, is this going to fit me again? Just to make slight adjustments to that, now it can be reused, which is just, I feel like people back in the day used to do that all the time, but now we kind of have we've had this mentality of like, throw it away, get another one, throw it away, get another one, which is a shame.
And the thing is also that our current sizing charts have been based on like body measurement studies, like dating from like 1940s, 1950s. And the truth is that our bodies have evolved. Like our body complexity has just changed. And I'm afraid that the sizing charts have not been evolving at the same time that fashion has been doing so. Yeah. And unfortunately, as a woman, you face that scenario where your clothes are simply not made to evolve with you. I feel like generally for you as a man, you always have 1 extra inch in your pants that you can always let out. For women though, every time that I'm just like doing some reverse engineering, deconstructing garments, you notice that there's like barely enough seam allowance to keep the garment together. Yes. So for us as women being like, the probably like most of the consumers out there, there's just like simply not made for us to evolve with their clothes. So I feel like that was one of the things that definitely inspired me to start doing what I do now. It's just like, I know that I love very well-fitting clothes, and a very well-fitted suit, a very well-fitted dress jacket can just like scream elegance like from far, far away. So I feel like we all deserve, that chance to have that perfect fitted piece of clothing that that it's going to last for a long, long time. And
it's interesting that you say that, because my mother and father were in the fashion industry, right? And
they were
my father was a tailor. My mother started as a seamstress, and then they became, again, and they worked for Ellen Tracy. I don't know if you remember Ellen Tracy at all, but anyway. So one thing I do notice is, you're right. I mean, you buy a pair of pants, and you can see in there that you can actually taking them in is always easy, but taking them out is where you need some garment, right? You look women's dresses, and I realized, I forget who I was looking at. I don't know if it was even for your wedding for mom, I said to myself, there's no garment. In other words, from my perspective, I was like, we can't make this wider. There's just nothing there, right? But I guess you found I guess there are ways to help a little bit. I mean, you can't add 3 inches, but maybe half an inch.
I have an engineering background, and I feel like that's one thing that has been playing that is just like been present on my day-to-day life, which is like every time that I just face the challenge of like especially upsizing garments, you will always find a creative way to just like make it as invisible as possible, but also like in a way that it's solving that current problem that we have, or just like that need of like needing more space. Because like sometimes all you need is just like that extra 1 inch that is going to allow you to breathe after you have have had some dinner. So I feel like for one thing, it's just like things out there are definitely not suited for us to just like go through our everyday life and just like to evolve with us. So that's where I come in. And with the secondhand market just like growing so much lately, it's going to be necessary, and like with people shopping secondhand more often, it's going to be like necessary for more seamstresses and more like so as to just get on board in this industry, because believe me, it's getting up there. And especially like people thrifting and like buying secondhand clothes, hand-me-downs, or just like clothes that you swapped at a swap party or something like that, it's probably not going to fit 100% perfectly. Or if you buy something off the rack, even if it's made from like the most sustainable materials, which in the ideal world that will be the case, but there's going to be a high need for those services, and I feel like Charlottesville is it's been a great community
For that.
to grow these type of businesses, because there's already that conscious customer. It's already out there. And I've been lucky enough to find partners on my way that have been key for the development of ReFem. Like it is, meeting the shop owner and community builder like Linnea of Darling and Dashing,
Yep.
and like many other like key partnerships that have been like ReFem what it is as of now, like Chelsea and Flannery from Bluebird and Crozet, Annie from Shop Neon Soul, the whole community at Twice is Nice, the Darden Partners Association, Athleta and Barracks. So I feel like it definitely takes a community to really like make these businesses grow, because I don't feel like a lot of people really realize that we as consumers really hold the power to change the course of history, environmentally, speaking.
Yeah.
As well as what are the customers, what are the businesses that you're choosing to support, and where you're putting your money towards too.
Yeah.
No, it's very well put. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
true. It's true. Now, I'm curiosity. So, do you also sew? I mean, so when you were growing up, now did your grandmother or mother sew? I mean,
Yeah.
it just seems like in the old
It's a
days,
lost art.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
women, in particular, and men.
men
I mean, my
used to have to sew
grandfather,
all
my
their own
grandfather's
clothes
the
and
one that
socks
taught me how to sew.
Yeah.
He gave me like 2 pieces of garment, and he says, okay, make a pair of pants. I mean, a pair of pants were this small, right? But he showed me how,
Yeah.
and so I sewed them up, and then you turned them inside down, and it's like boom, there's a pair of pants. So it's the beginning of back then it was like teaching somebody how to do something that's very useful, because I feel like sewing is something you need more often than you need. A button falls, it's like, how do I put this button on? Well, it's good to know how to put on a button, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a lot of the environment where I grew up that inspired me, and I was just like pretty much shaped to do something related to that. Because like you mentioned, I actually had my growing up, I grew up watching my grandma make the same dress over and over, but like in 20 different fabric patterns.
Oh, wow.
So it was the fact that my mom really liked to embroider, and like there was a very creative community
Yeah.
around me. So I feel like that definitely lined me up for to be performing the job that I'm performing today. But yeah, like you mentioned, like back in the 1800s, like one dress would just like get passed along for like
True.
many generations.
Exactly.
And by the time that dress was like not good enough, it would become a bag or a pillowcase, and then when that was not good enough, it would become into a rag. And then back then they used to trade the rags for homeware, for like home goods. So I feel like that practice got really like left in the dust with industrialization and just like consumerism and the disposable culture, that I feel like these days is really important, and even more than important, it's necessary to just go back to the roots of that.
Yeah.
And to continue teaching this practice that can really mean so much to the environment and also for your wallet.
Yeah.
So,
in
Yeah.
particular.
Well, for what, and like you said, it would be so nice, because sometimes I think what happens is we have this consumer throw it away mentality. So we're like, well, I don't want to buy this piece of clothing, this article of clothing, a suit or a dress that has nice fabric, because if it comes out of fashion in 3 years, it'll be a waste of money. So I'm going to buy this one that's kind of cheaper. But then you're getting what you pay for. The low quality of the materials. Sometimes it's not even like cotton.
Disposable quality.
It's disposable, and then you throw it out. Whereas trying to reframe the mind and say, yes, that might be a little more expensive now, but I know that I can use this for 10, 15 years, but as if the styles need to change, I can take it to ReFem and actually get
Exactly.
a
I
little,
was just
make
gonna
it
say
just
that.
a little different, and so you can get something that's a higher quality that will actually last,
Yeah.
and not be afraid, and not have to sit there and say, well, I have to throw it out because the style changed. Well, no, it can change
Yeah.
with the style.
I mean, unfortunately, like there's a very like thin space between like buying fast fashion, which for some members of our community, that's
all they can-
the
yeah.
one thing that they can afford, and
Yeah.
they of course they want to be in style, and they want to wear what they're seeing on Instagram and TikTok and like in social media, but a lot of times, like you're right, you're just getting what you paid for, and you know that piece of clothing with the raw hem is just going to roll up, and probably it's just going to fall apart in your washing machine on the second, third wash.
Yeah.
So definitely getting to the point where you can invest in your own pieces that are like quality made. It's definitely going to be a process, but I would say taking your first like baby steps towards like shopping secondhand and thrifting the trends. I know it sounds impossible. I know that not everyone's meant to be, in a thrift store just like in the hunt, like searching in so many bins. But I feel like besides being rewarding, like it's totally possible for you to find those pieces that, you're maybe seeing online for a high price tag. It's not going to be the same quality, same construction, definitely not the same prints or patterns. But the style is out there. And what I would really love to invite the audience is to see clothes in a different way. See it as a raw product. See the potential in them, not as it actually is right now. I'm sure that maybe like, if you happen to have daughters or like nieces, they're seeing your jackets right now, like, thinking I'm just gonna restyle that and just like crop it or like do something to my grandfather's jackets. And like, that's the one thing that I feel like it's a game changer. Thinking of your clothes as a raw product and just make them work for you.
No, that's true.
That's so amazing. Yeah, and it's great to have the opportunity to do that
Yeah.
and say to change those, to just bring it to where you want it to see it as like, this in the hands of Debbie, this could be something much different than it is now.
Now, do you custom make, suits, dresses, or whatever? In other words, let's say you have material. I love this material, and I'd like a suit made out of this material. Is that something you also do?
That's something that as of now I'm not prioritizing. Okay. I definitely do a big chunk of my own clothes. I have done some custom pieces for very, very special friends. But it's something that right now, as of now, it's not on my, services menu. But one day it will be there. So.
It's good to know though, because I mean, because I'll be honest with you, looking for people to adjust, again, pants or jackets
that
or
could
dresses.
Be harder because you can still go.
You can't find anybody. It's like you look, and then sometimes when you go to the places, you just like they have no clue what they're. Yeah. Again, I know a little bit. I don't know a lot. But I look at them and said, they have no clue what they're looking at or how to do this. And I tell my wife, I said, I wouldn't trust you dressed to this lady.
The adjustment is harder to find even than the custom. Yeah. There's still places you can know that, if you're willing to pay enough, they'll make you something from scratch, right? But the adjustment is the one that is hard because it's kind of that sweet spot that you're entering where like, you don't want something made from scratch. You have something that's meaningful to you. But if it's meaningful to you, you also don't trust it with anybody. Like you're not going to be like, I'm going to give it to someone I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to say, well, if this is my wedding dress and I want to convert it into something that I can wear all the time, I want someone that I know has the experience. And you're just the background and the knowledge to be able to do it in a way that makes sense and in a way that works.
And the thing with tailoring services that it's not like, like just going to your grocery store and just like buying a replacement for that one product that you like. Like it has to be highly recommended. And I'm so happy that, thinking of all the marketing that has gone through my process or that it's been involved, it's like, it's really a word of mouth campaign. Because it's like, it's not like you can just like recommend or like Google a surgeon for your heart surgery, right? No. It's definitely different priorities. It's not the same importance, but it's like, it has to come recommended. And you have to know that there's someone out there who had a great experience, that it's like, like trusting their experience for you to like go and try this out. So I feel like that's the one thing that has been like, putting Refem in people's minds where it is now. Because it's like, there's a great, and I'm so thankful for that, customer return rate to my business. They continue to like bring me their mending piles or like things that they continue to shop secondhand, but now they know that there's someone out there that can help with like, like just fitting that one dress perfectly, or like, I'm going to this wedding on the fall and I have lost or gained some weight. We want to make sure that your clothes evolve with you. So if you know that there's someone out there, which I feel like sometimes we simply don't know, it's just like there's a big misconception that tailoring is expensive, that tailoring is very exclusive, that it's just like not accessible, that it's just not easy to reach, and that the person in the other end, it's not going to understand you, it's going to judge you. So that's been my approach, just a zero judgment process, a very intimate experience with my customers, because I do see value in that. And more than a transactional relationship, having that connection with my customer that knows that I'm going to care for their clothes as much as they care. So I do see a lot of value in that, and I think that's the main offer that Refem, is putting out there in the world.
And that's so important. And you obviously have a vision. You see things. I think sometimes, most people, they look at a dress and they just see that dress. They don't see any possibility to make that dress any different, right? Especially like gowns, right? You buy a gown for a wedding or something special, and then you sit there and go, when am I going to wear this again? And by the time I got to wear it again, everybody say, oh, but I already wore that once, and the fashion has changed. But if you can turn that gown into a very nice dress that you can wear more often, that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, and that's something that we can, budget for and plan for during alterations, because not everything has to be permanent. Yes. I have reworked a lot of pregnancy clothes for your first trimester, but we're gonna let things out when you're final term. So it's I'm really there to make your clothes transition and evolve with you. Like you said, if it's not feeling right, even if it's been a couple months since you wore it for the last time, if it's simply not feeling right, I'm here, with that fashion background to just bring a vision of how things can sit better in a human body, what's happening out there, what are some of the recent trends, what's your body type, and what are some of the things that will suit your body the best, and how can we get to a middle point with that. So.
Absolutely.
And one more question before we let you go. I'm just curious. So are you telling me that the 50s and 60s men's fashion are coming back? Because it is.
I will tell you, do not get rid of it. If you were, tech savvy, get on Depop, Poshmark. There's people out there looking for that. Which that's the other thing. You cannot only be a consumer. You can also be a participant in these circular, different businesses. As a consignor in your favorite consignment shop in town, you can also choose resale clothes online. You can, think of many other different circular businesses Refem, that are just easy ways to get involved in the movement and just join the community of reuse, repurposing, recycle. So be an outfit repeater. Do not be afraid to go thrifting. If there's any if you simply do not have clue of how to do that, keep your eyes out for Sustainability September. Refem is collaborating with Darling and Dashing, AP Style, April, a stylist from Crozet, and other local shop owners to bring for you so many of a list of tips for you. If you're not a thrifting, you're trying to get into it, you're just trying to make the switch into wearing and just consuming more consciously, we're going to have a month packed of very cool activities for you to get you involved and just for you to get your feet wet on how do I make the switch to dressing more sustainability. Keep an eye out for that.
Hey. Awesome. What day was that?
That's going to be throughout the whole month of September.
Oh, throughout the whole month.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not just one day.
Yeah.
So which is coming up up.
Yeah, very exciting things
very
coming
soon,
up in September.
Yeah.
Awesome. So during that month, where can people follow you, get in touch, and reach out?
Of course. They can meet me in person tomorrow at my monthly pop-up at Darling and Dashing. That's my alterations and repairs monthly pop-up. Is last Friday of every month, I just set up a fitting station on the Dashing side of Darling and Dashing.
Okay.
If you have that one pile that is just I'm going to take it to the tailor one day, take that pile with you, bring it, and just drop it off with me. If there's something that we need to alter, we do the fitting there. I take it home with me, rework it, and bring it back to the shop to pick it up 1 week later. Easy peasy.
Wow.
So
Easy.
that's one thing in person. If you would like to just shoot me a text, you can do it at 970-306-9783. You can find me on Instagram as Refem, and my website WeRefemme, REFEMME.com.
refem.com. Awesome.
All right.
Gabby, this has been so fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much
great.
for joining us
Thank
this
you
morning.
so
I've
much
learned
for
so
having
much.
me.
Great. Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
has
That
been
was a great
fantastic.
conversation.
So absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
It's great work.
So there you have it. So tomorrow, last Friday of every month.
That's right.
And then in September, keep your eyes peeled for a lot of different tips and things you can learn.
Well, like I said, I remember when my parents were in New York, right? My father would get his suits, custom built because he already knew people, right?
Yeah.
And my first suit and jacket, he brought me to somebody, and they made my first suit. And it was like I went to work, and people said, "Whoa, where'd you get that suit?" Because most people went to
'Cause it
Brooks
fits
Brothers
nice,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. And it's like, I had it custom made, and they thought this guy must
course,
be.
they thought you spent all this money
must
on
be
it,
rich or
like,
something. And
yeah.
no, it's like, no, it's just my father knew somebody, and it just fits perfect. Like you put it on, and it's like
Yeah.
you look so good, right? And then you go buy something in the store, and you go like this, and it's like
It's just not,
it's
yeah.
loose, or
That's
it's too
not right.
tight, and you look like a half bum.
But no, it's so important. I just love the idea of also going back to those roots, those things. That's what clothing was.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't this thing where
Yeah.
like you go in a store, you get a bunch of stuff, and then like it's in the garbage
Yeah.
2 years later.
I mean, let's face it, we're all different, both character, personality, body shape. Everybody's slightly
completely
different.
different,
We
yeah.
don't know fit into the same 38 short.
No.
Some guys look better, some guys look worse.
Yeah.
So it's nice to. I know it's hard, but it's nice to be able to say, "I've got this. Can you alter it a little so that it makes
Exactly.
me look better?" So
Absolutely.
it fits better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what that's what entrepreneurship is. It's finding those needs
That's
those
right.
needs that are out
Yeah.
there in the community and saying,
And they're
"Hey,
there.
They are there.
They're there.
Absolutely, for sure." Robin Teenley, thanks for joining us this morning. Amy Painter, thank you for joining us this morning and then watching the show. Really appreciate everyone who tuned in this morning. This has been a fantastic.
Yeah, it's
show.
been great.
Always
I always
love
enjoyed
learning
it so much.
Next week, trifecta. We got 3 sets of guests. Next
3.
week. We're going to be having on Mia from Little Acorn Events, as well as Amy Paquette, an artist here, and of course Miguel and Carolina from Credit Serious Insurance going to be joining us next week. So we got a jam-packed week where we'll have some more amazing guests. Really appreciate you
Looking
being on
forward
with
to
me. Thank you, Judah, as always, behind the camera, making
Always.
us all look good. When you and I look good, our guests usually look good. It's you and I that need
The guests look good just by
the guests
themselves,
look good
right?
by
Yeah.
themselves. You and I need the work that Judah does behind the camera, making things.
Well, they should
flow
have. You know what?
smoothly.
When we come in, they should have like a makeup artist and throw makeup on us. So
Oh,
it's
so
like
like
people
they
would say,
like the TV
people would say, "Yeah,
productions.
wow, these guys are really handsome." I mean,
Get rid of those browns, hide those brown spots.
that's right. Anyway, they can have whatever they want.
But always appreciate being on with you.
I
It's
love
always
being with you
always a
too.
pleasure. Thanks to Emergent Financial Services for presenting, as well as our great partners, Credit Serious Insurance, Matias Young Realty, Castle Hill Cider, Forward Adelante. I want to be on the lookout. So next week, it's next Thursday.
Next Thursday, that's right.
The Today Mañana event at Castle Hill Cider. You can find it on Facebook. I'm pretty sure you can just type
That's
in.
going to be great. I mean,
I
that's a
think if you
beautiful
type in,
spot
it's
this
a
time of
beautiful-
year. Oh man,
I mean, I can't think of anything. but
you
it's
got
gonna
to
be
come out. Even just to enjoy
some food,
Castle Hill.
some great stuff, to do. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure you can look up if you go to our Facebook page and the Today Mañana group. You should be able to find everything you need for the Today Mañana Guest Appreciation event next Thursday, at 5:30, Castle Hill Cider. I think that's the only news.
It'll be a lot of
that
fun.
we have. It's going to be
It's
a lot of fun.
It always is. I enjoy enormously.
Get to
People
meet
come
new
out
people.
and it's just you get to meet people and they're all entrepreneurs just about.
Yeah.
Every one of them, and it's a great time
We
to.
appreciate all that they do.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great. Look forward to seeing everyone there. In the meantime, we hope everyone has a great week. Thanks for being on with me and Xavier. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you for having me back.
It's fun. It's always fun to be here co-hosting with you. Thank you all for watching. Thanks everyone for your great comments and questions. We look forward to seeing you all next week. But until that time, as we like to close it out on the show, hasta mañana.